When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
I jumped in the street and I said, stop. He would have never been gone right now if she would have stopped, because he would have ran to the other side of the street. All she had to do was hit the brakes. I still can't understand why she accelerated.
This is the plaintiff, Michael Landy. He says he watched in horror as the defendant ran over his beloved dog and killed it. The woman's a very mean person who showed no remorse, and he's having a hard time getting over it. He's a sickly and destroyed man who lost his wife and now his dog. And he's suing the cold-hearted defendant for $3,000 because she's 100% at fault. This is the defendant, Carol Cornett. She says she drove slowly until the plaintiff's two dogs were safely on the sidewalk. And as she accelerated past them, she heard the plaintiff scream, "Stop!" Somehow, one of the plaintiff's dogs got loose and ran under her car. She was in shock when she realized what had happened and just stayed frozen in her car. The plaintiff threatened her. The cops came, and well, here they are. She's accused of running down a pup.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Michael Landy, you are suing Carol Cornett for $3,000 in pain and suffering, the cost of cremation, and shots that you had invested in your dog, which, according to you, she negligently ran over and killed. I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your dog. Tell me what happened.
Every morning before I go to work, I have two dogs. The big dog was 14 years old. That was like a partner. I had him for almost 2 years. So what happened was, I came out my regular walks is between 7 and 7:30, but I came out about 10 after.
In the morning?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I came out with the two dogs,
Are they on a leash?
Yes, they both had a leash. They both always, never without a leash, always. And the woman next door to me.
The second dog, how many years had you had that dog?
He's a little more. I would say I almost had him about a year and a half.
Okay.
You know.
And what kind of dog?
I think.
Couple of things. Okay.
He was a miniature schnauzer.
Okay.
And I have a blind woman that lives next door to me, and she has a German Shepherd that's on training. And she was walking up the block, so I didn't want to disturb her because the dog is still on training, and she was walking the dog. So what happened was I decided, let me go on the other side of the street so I don't disturb her. So as I was going on...
Where are you crossing?
I'm crossing on Gregory Avenue.
Okay. Where on Gregory Avenue?
The cross lines will be over here. I was off the cross lines.
Off the cross line. Okay. So you're crossing with the two dogs because you see the German Shepherd.
Yes. And
Okay.
my big dog was on this side. He was
Right.
coming in because he's smart. He was going. The little one was always on a run. He wanted to always pull or whatever
Right.
because he wanted to go by the other dog on the other side. So he started to get loose on the leash.
Loose on the leash?
Yeah,
How?
he was pulling.
Okay.
So the big dog was already on the sidewalk. The little one was pulling me. He started to get loose, but I noticed before he got loose, I jumped down the street and I said, "Stop!" just like that to her.
Wait. So when this is happening, the dog is where? On the ground on a leash?
On the leash,
On the
And
ground.
He was pulling the leash, like, you know, to get loose. He was pulling because he was nudging himself
Okay,
out.
had you already crossed the street, or were you?
I was between the two cars, and my big dog was on the sidewalk, like his
Right.
paws, he was
But
on.
the little one's a little less cooperative.
He was, I named him Rex because he was, you know, he was pulling, he's always wild. When I got across the street, the little one was pulling me. What happened was he was pulling, and his arm, he started coming out of the leash, but before he started to get out,
Wait, how did he get out of a leash?
he was loosening himself, like he was, I don't know how.
Wait. What kind of leash did you have on?
I had a harness.
How do you wiggle your way out of a
Well,
harness?
that's, Your Honor, that's exactly what happened. He was loosening himself out of the harness.
You have a different story, right? According to you, the dog was loose and
No,
not
the
on a
dog
leash.
wasn't loose.
Wasn't, no
Okay,
leashes.
hold on. I'll be with you in a second. Go ahead.
What happened was when he was wiggling his way out, he was trying to get out of the leash. The first thing I thought was, let me stop the car, because the car was coming up. So I jumped out and I said, stop. And with that hand, the car accelerated and I went this way and he got out and went right under the front of a car. Now, if she had plenty of time to stop, there was no reason to speed up. I still would like to know why she accelerated the gas when I said stop. I did say stop. I had my hand out. I had my other dog over here, which he stayed there. But the little dog was too busy trying to go by the other dog. But he was getting loose. He wasn't loose. He was getting loose. And somehow he managed to get himself loose from the leash.
So
which
the
never
dog was
happened
loose
to
when
me.
it was run over? The dog was not loose when it was run over? Did this
No, he
lady
got
run over
loose.
the leash?
He did get loose. Like,
Okay, he did. Okay, because
And
you said
when-
he's not loose.
But
Okay.
before he got loose, I jumped in the street and I said, stop. He would have never been gone right now if she would have stopped, because he would have ran to the other side of the street. All she had to do was hit the brakes. I still can't understand why she accelerated.
Well, let's find out. What happened?
I'm coming down Gregory. I turn the corner. I see him crossing the street with the dogs. So I slow
Are the
down.
dogs on a leash or aren't they?
They're not on a leash.
Neither one?
No. So as I slowed down as to let them cross the street, I seen they were on up.
Were
by
there
the
other
s-
cars slowing down in front of you or no?
There was no one in front of me.
There was no other car
just
in front of you?
cars behind me.
Okay.
So I seen that he was up on the sidewalk, so I proceeded to go. Then I heard him yell, stop, which I did. I stopped. I saw the dog run out and then run back. I seen him bend down, so I figured I could accelerate because I thought he had picked up the dog. Then I hear him say, stop again, and the dog come charging out of nowhere. I didn't have enough time to stop. The dog was under the back tire on the passenger side.
Out of curiosity, where were you heading?
I was going home.
You worked the night shift?
I don't work. I'm disabled.
Okay, you were going home from where?
I took a friend to work.
And you assumed that he had, I mean, you knew a dog was loose, right? And you assumed that he had picked up the dog.
Picked up because I seen him bend
But
down and
wouldn't it have
stand
been,
up. So
in
I thought he.
retrospect, wouldn't it have been better to wait another 5 seconds and see that the dog was retained before accelerating?
I didn't accelerate that fast.
I know, but it did the trick, didn't it? Because the dog's dead, right?
Unfortunately, I
Just a
feel
second,
really
sir.
bad about it, but
Okay, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But in retrospect, wouldn't it have been a lot better to invest 5 seconds in waiting to see that he actually had his dog under control? We'll talk in a moment about whether the responsibility he has to keep his dog under control. We'll talk about all that in a second. What I'm asking you, just human to human, we're always in such a rush. What's the rush? What fire were you putting out? What cancer were you curing? You know a dog is loose. You know he's frantically trying to get it. You know, I mean, he may be an incompetent for his dog getting loose, but for the love of God, you can't wait 5 seconds before moving along. This is the kind of incivility that you see every day in traffic in every city in America.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, is the driver partly to blame in this case?
I mean, I think the driver's partly to blame. If it was a child, the driver would have stopped as well, so.
Fair enough. I mean, but the driver, look, the person who has the dog was the one that let the dog go there, wasn't it?
They need it on a leash. They got to keep it.
Is the driver partly responsible?
Could be.
What do you think?
If a driver hits anyone or anything, it is responsible, yes.
Totally?
No, I think it's, I mean, both people.
50-50-ish?
Yeah, right.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
Now let's talk a moment about your responsibilities. Tell me how it is.
It's hard. I know.
I'm sorry, let me finish my question. I know it's hard, sweetie. I'm a dog lover, and I have a dog that gets loose. And I have my dog on a leash all the time, but we have a gate that sometimes doesn't close. and we don't know it doesn't close. And we've had it repaired a few times. I've done what I could, but if my dog, who apparently has figured out how to open up the doorknob, which everyone's very impressed about all the time, but I'm not impressed because she hasn't figured out how to close the door behind her so the mosquitoes don't get in, will open up a door, run out, and I know that sheer panic of that moment. I know it. But if someone were to run over my dog, I would realize that it's my fault because my dog got loose, because only two possible scenarios are true. Either your dog wasn't on a leash, so it's your fault, or your dog was on a leash that didn't contain your dog, so it's your fault. It's one of those two. You seem to have this feeling that when you're jaywalking in the middle of a street where traffic has a right to be, that you have a right to tell them to stop, and if their instincts aren't fast enough, they have to pay you $3,000. I don't know where you get that from. You know, but let me talk to you about what happened here, because what happened here is really about what happened afterwards, right? You felt that she didn't have an ounce of remorse over what happened. Tell me how she behaved.
That's a piece. She didn't even get out of the car, didn't say a sorry, no remorse at all. Not an inch, nothing. Not even to the cop, nothing. The cop even couldn't understand it. And that's the way I feel right now. If she wasn't in such a rush, my dog would still be here. That's how I feel.
I know that's how you feel. Have you ever asked yourself if you had your dog on a leash that would actually comply with the law's requirements, your dog would be here? And I hate to pour salt in your wound because I know you're in a lot of pain, but you have to let this one go because legally speaking, you don't have a leg to stand on. To say that but for what she did when she's going in traffic and thinks you're clear, and though I would have reacted differently, because I know that where I'm going, the pillars of the republic will not fall, even if I'm heading to the People's Court to do my job, if I take another 5 seconds to make sure that someone who's having a catastrophe solves their catastrophe before I accelerate. I understand that, all right? But if I have a right to be on the street legally driving, and you're the one who's got a loose dog and they're jaywalking, I don't see how you think that a court of law can help you in this and say it's your fault. It may morally be a little bit bad. And if, in fact, she showed 0 ounce of remorse, that's bad. But that doesn't make a legal case.
No, I understand.
You know, I just read an interesting book called Freakonomics. And in it, they talk about the likelihood of a doctor getting sued. And the likelihood of a doctor getting sued does not go up based on the negligence that the doctor exhibited. Do you know what the single most likely predictor is of a doctor getting sued? Of you suing your doctor? If your doctor was jerky. We wouldn't be here if you had showed the slightest bit of remorse. He has an affidavit from a neighbor saying that you could care less, that you felt it was his fault. You know, yeah, it's his fault.
I told the officer I was sorry.
I don't know. Maybe the officer's not the person you should be telling you're sorry to. Does that occur to you? You would not be here if there was a slightest bit of human civility.
But I was in shock. Is
there anything you'd like to say to him now? Because his dog is dead. I understand. Listen to me. Listen to me. It's his fault. You're going to win this case. I want you to listen to me. Is there anything you'd like to say to him anyway?
I'm very sorry for what happened, but I feel that if the dog was on the leash, that wouldn't have happened.
Now let me explain something to you, because even my children understand this. There's no such thing as an apology followed by the word but.
Thank you.
And if my 10-year-old knows that at your age, you ought to know it. For the reasons I've already outlined, though, my verdict is for the defendant. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, the plaintiff comes out on a losing end of this case. Step on in here. How much worse is it now that you've found out that it was your fault?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I still don't feel it was my fault.
In your heart, you know.
In my heart.
The law says it was, though. The law.
That's what the law says, but my heart, I don't think it was my fault.
I saw the
think the woman
tears.
should have stopped.
Yeah. Well, we saw the tears. How'd you like her?
I'm a pedestrian too, so.
How'd you like her apology?
No,
What about it? Why don't you accept it?
because it didn't come out right. Even the judge saw that.
Okay, right down this way. Okay. All right, step on in here and tell me what's going through your mind as you come out here.
I'm just ball of nerves.
That's understandable. You want to calm down for a second, take a deep breath, and try that apology again?
I'm really sorry for his loss. There was nothing that if I could do it over, I would see what else I could do, but there was nothing I could do, and I'm really sorry for that.
There was a but in there again.
No.
Harvey?
thing is, the leash law is pretty much a lock. You don't have a dog on a leash, you're going to be responsible for the damages that ensue. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This episode is brought to you by Prime. What if you had one more chance with the one that got away?
Sam, you came home.
Based on the best-selling novel from Carly Fortune. Every Year After follows childhood friends Sam and Percy as they reunite in the dreamy, nostalgic lakeside town of Barry's Bay.
Love can be hard to find. So if you're lucky enough to find that person, never let go.
A second chance at first love. Every Year After, now streaming only on Prime.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This is the plaintiff, Tawana Frazier. She says she takes church groups on outings twice a year and has used the defendant's bus company for more than 4 years. Well, the night before the trip was scheduled to leave, the defendant informed her he wasn't able to make it, and another guy with a bus would be there to take them. Everyone assembled at the meeting place at 7:45 a.m., and the bus never showed. She started crying right on the spot. The trip was canceled. She's out all sorts of money and is 100% sure it's the defendant's fault. So she's suing for $1,940, the amount she's due. This is the defendant, William Wilson. He says the plaintiff called him at the last minute needing a bus, but was totally ambiguous about locking in a date or the size of the bus needed. He went out of his way for this lady, and when he did finally get a bus company for her, she got the driver of that bus so angry he refused the job. Whatever happened with that other bus company's not his business, and he owes the plaintiff nothing. He's accused of not being a holy roller.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Thank you, Douglas. Tawana Frazier, you are suing William Wilson and his bus service. You've asked us not to mention the service's name, the name of the company, and I will respect that. You're the owner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For $1,940, $840 in theater tickets that were lost because he did not provide the bus service, and $300 the profit of theater tickets, and the rest in pain and suffering and other costs that you say you incurred because he breached a contract with you. Tell me what happened.
My relationship with Mr. Wilson began back in about 2009. I met him because he was referred to me by another church friend. And we started taking trips with him. I believe our first trip was in 2010, March of 2010. And we've used Mr. Wilson since 2010, twice a year for our fundraising events.
Okay, and your fundraising events are fundraising for whom?
The church.
Okay, for the church that you belong to. And so what you do is you put together these bus trips to places that you can get to by bus that are close.
Yes.
And then plan a day of it?
Yes.
Like, for example, you planned a day of this one. What was this one supposed to be?
This included the round trip, transportation with the charter, the theater tickets.
To where?
The tickets.
Round trip to where?
Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for the Sight and Sound Theater.
Okay.
And this show was Jonah.
And it was costing how much per person?
$135.
Okay, go on.
Okay. So I contracted Bill for the August 4th trip in February of 2012. And his policy is he sends a contract by email. I sign the contract and mail it back to him. 30 days before the date, 30 days or before, he gets a $300 deposit, and then we pay in full before he pulls off. When we board, we pay the rest of the money, the balance that's due. In April, I went to South Carolina. I was there due to a death in the family for the entire month. He contacted me in April. We spoke by phone. I explained to him. He asked me about the date. He said that he had the date penciled in, and I said, yes, I still want the date. I said, I'm sorry, I'm here in South Carolina. I would have already sent the contract back by now, but my mother's sister died very suddenly. He was very sympathetic because me and Bill have known each other for 4 years now, twice a year.
So how long before the date was he asking you to send the contract?
This was April.
And the
May,
date
June,
of the
July,
event was when?
August.
That's 4 months earlier. So after you left, why didn't you send a contract?
I did send the contract from South Carolina.
Oh, you did?
I did.
So you signed it?
Yes, I
Is
signed it.
there a
and
signed
I sent it.
contract?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any proof? He says he never got a contract from you, that was the problem. You sent it how?
I sent it by mail.
Okay, and according to you, you never got a contract.
Yes, ma'am.
And
never
did you actually ask for a contract and tell her you need to get organized and you need to...
That's my policy.
According to you, he receives the contract and he's lying.
Yes.
Okay. And what ends up happening? And you know that because you talked to him many times on the phone.
Many times, and I have my phone records.
Yeah, let me see your phone
text
records.
message.
Did you mark the
Yes.
the times you talked to him?
Yes.
Okay. And of course, according to you, the times you talked to her was about contracting, not
about the date, because I told her I can no longer hold a bus on a person's word in a busy season, because I had too many people the night before the event. Oh, I can't fill the bus. I can't use it. And now my bus.
And then you don't get
sits.
paid, right?
And she never received. She sent me. She said she sent me, but I never received a contract or a deposit for that day, so I can't hold.
Oh, well, show me the deposit.
I did not give him a deposit.
Isn't that what the contract says? That you say you sent in?
Because that's how he looked at it. It's don't worry about the deposit, because I was willing to have the church send the check.
Okay, show me a copy of the contract that you mailed him that's signed.
I mailed it to him.
And so you didn't keep a copy?
No, I don't. I did.
What ended up happening that day, sweetheart? Because it was awful.
Yeah. Well,
all right, let's talk about the day before first.
The day before.
Well, hold on. In your complaint, you actually say he calls you a week before and says, "What's up?" Because I haven't heard from
on the Monday. We had spoken several times because in June I called him about 2 additional contracts, 2 other events. Yes, that we were going to do together, and even in those times he was like, "Okay, but the August 4th date, yes, Bill, don't play, yes." And he's, "Okay, no, I got you. It's on the calendar. I'm just making sure that you still want that date. Yes, Bill, we're still going to Pennsylvania." Okay, so.
Did that conversation happen?
That conversation happened, but she left me in such a confused, ambiguous state that I'm informing her I need to know what's going on. And
did you specifically say, "Hey, I don't have a contract. Why don't you send a contract in because you don't have a bus"?
No.
And
in that conversation, you said that.
And a deposit.
So now I have a specific question. Now it's the day before, and what happens?
Now it's Friday, Thursday or Friday, the day before, and my cell phone rings. Hello.
At what time?
About 3 in the afternoon, 2-ish, in the middle of the afternoon. My cell phone rings. Hello. Hi, may I speak with Tawana Frazier? This is she. How can I help you? Hi, this is Joe Johnson. Okay. He says, "Are you going to Sight and Sound? You going to Pennsylvania tomorrow?" "Yes." "Saturday?" I said, "Yes, I am." He says, "Okay, Bill told me to give you a call." I said, "Okay. Well, I don't understand why you're calling me, so let me hang up with you and call Bill and find out why you're calling me about our trip to Pennsylvania." So he said, "Okay." I hung up. I called.
Hold on. Before you hung up, what else did you say?
"I'll call you back."
Right.
So I called Bill, and, he answered, and he said, "Oh, sis, I overbooked. I have a trip going to Georgia. This is a new driver, and it's a long trip. It's a 2-day trip. We need 2 drivers. And so, Joe is going to take you guys." I said, "Bill, we don't know Joe." "Who's Joe?" "We don't know Joe, Bill. We've been going up and down the road with you for years." So he says, "Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine." I said, "Okay, well, what about your money? You want me to give Joe Johnson your money? If you want me to meet you today, I can meet you and give you the money." He says, "No, give him my money. He'll give me every penny. Don't worry about it."
Tell me your take on that conversation. What do you say took place?
So now I'm in Augusta, Georgia.
When she calls?
When she calls me. Because she's not sure. She's calling me the night before her trip. And I said, "You know what? This is where my compassion came in." And I contacted a fella who I network with, he has a bus, and just so happened his trip was canceled for that Saturday.
Okay,
and I
but hold
called
on,
Joe.
because she says
Yes, ma'am.
that the first thing that happened was that Joe called.
No, ma'am. Her and I already talked. And
How many times did you talk on Friday?
we conversed back and forth.
So there should be a minimum 2 conversations on
it
the
was
Friday.
more than that because she got very
How many
upset.
phone records from the Friday?
It was more than that.
There's 4 conversations on Friday, not 1.
If you look at the minutes of
What I
the
really want to
call-
look at is a contract.
What I
Let's talk about this a little bit further. So then what happens is you talk to him. According to you, he tells you Joe's the best. You hang
Right.
up, and do you call Joe back?
I'm sorry, I left this out. I tell him, okay, so we're good. I'm going to call Joe. I'll just call Joe back because I told him I was going to call him back. He says, no, you don't need to call Joe. I already gave him all of your information. He knows
but
what
you
time.
know you need to call Joe because you told Joe you'd call him back.
Yes.
So did you call Joe back?
At night. Not immediately. I called Joe back that night.
What time at night?
Probably about 9, before I went to bed, before 10.
It's 2 minutes, so did you leave a message or did you talk to him?
I left a message. I
You
said,
left a message.
Hi, Joe, this is Tawana. We spoke earlier this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in the morning. I'll be there by 7:50.
It's 10 o'clock at night. I know I said I'd call you back, but I
didn't
can't wait
say
to see you in 8 hours.
because I trusted what Bill told me. Bill implied that Joe
Can I ask you a
worked for
question?
him.
If you'd called him back, we might not be here, right? The trip might have happened. Because if you'd done that, then maybe at 7 in the morning, when there's how many people standing at a bus stop?
25.
25 people standing at a bus stop, waiting to have their wonderful day that they've paid you for. What happened? There was no bus.
Yes.
Right? Tell me about that. What was it like to have no bus out there and everyone looking at you and asking, how did you mess this up?
It was horrible. I
Sure.
was crying.
Yeah.
Everyone was very upset. We waited for hours.
Now, on that morning when there was no bus, did you call Joe?
I did. I called Joe a little after 8. And, hi, it's Tawana. I'm already here. People are here. Do you know your estimated time of arrival?
And Joe says to you?
Joe says to me, you didn't call me back yesterday. I said, I know. I said, Bill told me that I didn't need to call you back. He had given you all of the information. Yeah, you want to keep, I don't work for Bill. You want to keep talking to Bill, you keep talking to Bill. And hung up the phone.
Okay, now Joe tells you what?
So who's primarily responsible for nailing down the specifics of where and when? The customer or the driver?
Well, the customer, of course. They're the one who needs the bus.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, I kind of get your point there. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the customer. He should follow up. You know, it's all responsible for.
Anybody think the business? Huh?
Sure, I blame the business.
Why?
I'm just devil's advocate. So.
How about this? They're the ones that make the profit.
Oh yeah, they're the making the money.
Good point. Huh, good point. Going inside the courtroom.
She never called me back, and every time she calls me, she tells me about you, and I don't work for you. You don't. And I said, Joe, you're right. And I was
Because Joe felt that she was what? Impolite to him?
very because
Because she was insisting on you and was surprised by his existence.
And I would call her back and I said, we're 2 separate entities. Stop mentioning me. He's going to do everything for you. Take care of you and him. Remove me out the picture now. Because I'm in Augusta, Georgia, and I went out the way to
So you
find
deny that you told her, I'll take full responsibility to
Yes,
set everything
ma'am.
up for you from Augusta.
Of course.
Especially if she's giving Joe all the money and you're not seeing a penny from it.
I'm not making nothing off of this. I'm going out the way.
Check, please. Let me just tell you something.
May I please say
No, you
something?
may not. As I see it, this is what this case is about. You have to prove to me, and you have the burden as a plaintiff of doing that, by a preponderance of the evidence, that means that it's more likely than not, that you had a contract with him where this man needed to show up, okay? That's what you have to prove to me. You do not have a copy of a signed contract back from him. You do not have proof that you mailed him a contract, which you could do if you had scanned and emailed it and sent it through or faxed it or anything else. You do not have proof that you sent a deposit because you admit you didn't send a deposit. And you admit that you told the new bus driver that you would call him back and you didn't. You admit that you probably should have because you showed me how you did at 11 or 10 at night. And I got a bus driver who thinks you were kind of impolite to him. Said, hey, you want Bill so bad? Have Bill. And that didn't feel like getting involved with you because of the way you handled it.
Your Honor.
You're out of gas. You're out of gas. You cannot prove a legal obligation on his part to have either been there or or made arrangements for someone else to be there on what you're saying. It is just as likely that it is exactly as he explains, which is he was trying to help you the day before, given the multiple phone calls the day before. I find in favor of the defendant in this case. I'm sorry.
The plaintiff, unable to prove her claim here in court, has lost his case. Come on out here. What's your reaction to the verdict against you?
I'm saddened by the verdict because this was a fundraiser for the church, and Mr. Wilson and the church, us, we had a very good relationship. He lied a lot for someone who's running a Christian bus service, and I cannot believe that he stood there and told those lies. I had no reason to think that he would shaft me or
Will
the
you
church.
still do these bus trips? You still
Oh, yes, not
the
with him.
organizer? Okay. All right, right down this
Thank
way. Okay? All right, ladies. All right, come on in here. Tell me how you feel about the way this thing came out.
Actually, I'm not happy at all because we both named the name of Jesus, and the foundation was Christ, and the truth needs no defense. And when the lie come up against the truth, as she claims I did, you see that the truth still superseded and prevailed.
Business-wise, how is your way of doing business going to change as a result of all this?
I have to have a contract, a signed return contract.
You realize email's good enough?
Yes, but I still prefer a paper trail that for my own records.
Email is paper trail.
I do the email.
Harvey?
Here's the deal. You can't rely on the business to make decisions for you on the when and the where and the whatnot, because you are the one who wants the service. You should take responsibility and make sure every specific is nailed down. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This is the plaintiff, Quajo Broby. He says he purchased a house from the defendant, and after living there for a week, he noticed there were mold spots forming. A few weeks later, it had spread all over the walls in the basement, and the experts told him this kind of mold didn't happen overnight. It's clear the plaintiff intentionally painted over the walls in order to hide the existing mold problem, and he's suing the house for the $5,000 it's going to cost him to have it removed. This is the defendant, Kalimi. He says the plaintiff checked the house a few times before buying it, and the house he sold him was in great shape. Now he's being accused of trying to cover up mold with a fresh coat of paint? He didn't do anything of the sort, and besides, it's impossible to cover up mold with paint. Anyone knows that. If the guy has a mold problem, maybe he's not taking care of the place properly. He's accused of attempting a cover-up.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. Quadwo Brabi?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, yay. You are suing the defendant you wish to be referred to only as Kalimi? Okay. And his business, Brooklyn Realty?
Yes.
All right. For $5,000 that you say it's going to, the statutory maximum in your state for small claims, you say it's actually going to cost you more than that to eradicate a mold problem on a house that he sold you.
That is
All
right.
Tell me what happened.
Your Honor, I bought a property in question from the defendant July 18, to be precise. And a week and a half into 2 weeks after closing the property, I noticed that I had a very serious mold infestation problem.
Do you have pictures?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it? What room is this?
This is the basement.
Is that just in the basement?
That is correct.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And then, so what do you do when you realize that?
I was very excited towards this purchase. I've been saving up for this milestone in my life, and I was very ecstatic when I closed on the property. So I was very disappointed.
Did you do a walkthrough?
Yeah, I did a walkthrough, yep.
When did you do the walkthrough in relation to the closing?
I did a walkthrough a couple of days before I closed.
And you closed on what day?
July 18th.
Okay, and when do you notice the walls looking like this?
About a week and a half into 2 weeks after I closing the property. And
So how did they not look like this when you did the walkthrough?
No, it didn't look like this.
Right.
There's always
How
signs.
did it not?
Because he had applied fresh paint, like it was painted freshly, and you could smell the fresh paint anytime you went into the basement. So from all indication, he tried to hide it from me before selling the property. And after this happened, I had reached out to two reputable...
You smelled fresh paint each time that you walked into the basement? How many times did you walk into the basement?
Over the course of 2 months, 3 times.
And each time you smelled fresh paint?
Each time, I mean, it was because the contractor was the one that was...
Each time did you smell fresh paint, yes or no?
Yes,
so
it did.
wouldn't that be like a little red flag to you that somebody...
At that point in time, it didn't dawn on me at that point in time.
Because if you have to paint something over and over again, why are you painting it over and over again if there's fresh paint 3 times? Okay, so go on.
So I reached out to reputable mold removal companies in the New York area.
Can I see I see the pictures, can I see the mold reports? Okay. They came and inspected on August 7th.
That is correct.
Okay. Was there fresh paint on the basement walls?
The whole house was fresh paint. The whole house was fully renovated.
Okay.
I bought the house
but
3 months.
But this mold that is appearing here is clearly something that you would have seen if you had just freshly painted it. You would have been, you would know that you were painting over mold.
Would I know that I would?
No, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
It's not simple to cover mold with paint. That's
it's very simple. It's just it doesn't last long.
It doesn't last long.
Right, I know. So what his accusation is that when you freshly painted everything, you had to have seen that you were painting over mold.
Okay, well,
is that true or not true?
We had no mold in the basement. When I was the owner of the property, I never had mold problem.
How long did you own it?
I owned the property for 6 months, 6 to 7 months.
Okay, and who painted the property? You ordered it painted?
No, I have a contractor that does the whole house, brand new.
But I know from looking at this that there is no way that happened in a week and a half that he owned the house. You and I both know that.
It's not. It didn't happen in a week and a half. I think it was about 3 weeks that he didn't move into the house, and I don't know. Mr. Broby was. I think. When did you move to the house? Do you remember?
I haven't moved in yet because of the mold situation.
He hasn't moved in. That's what he's complaining about. He bought a house, he can't move in.
Okay,
but don't talk to each other. Talk to me.
Okay, when this is what happens. When I owned the house,
you never lived there.
No, I never lived there. But I had a contract. Exactly. But I had a contractor that would go in and out of the house.
Right, but a contractor who sees this would tell you about it.
Yeah.
So what is your premise that in a week and a half, as he says, or 3 weeks, as you say, that all that mold is a result of 3 weeks of what? He wasn't even living there. So how could he neglect?
Exactly. If he's not living there and he's not opening windows and the basement and the house, there's no air going through the house and.
Yeah, but why would? Okay, but hold on a second. Mold doesn't appear in a basement because you don't open basement windows. That's not.
Yeah, but accurate. You gotta at least you gotta.
Show me the paperwork from the sale of this house. Show me the paperwork from it. Did you inspect the property before you bought it?
Yeah, I had the bank.
I don't mean personally. I meant actually paid an inspector.
Yeah, the bank had an inspector inspect the property.
Right, but that inspection report specifically excludes mold as something that they're checking for, right?
Right, that is correct.
Okay, and then you're in the state of New York, so you guys have this sort of chess game thing in a sale of a property where there's a form that you can fill out saying all kinds of things, answering all these questions, but if you feel like not filling out the form, you just got to pay him $500.
Yeah, we paid that. Did you
accept $500 for him not filling out?
You didn't pay no $500.
Of course I did. The statement shows that. At the closing statement?
Okay, hold on.
It clearly states that I paid the $500
New York State property disclosure credit, $500. It's right on your closing statement.
Yeah, but that was towards basically stuff like the structure that leads into the entrance of the house.
Stop. I know what a New York State disclosure statement is. Do you have any evidence that he actually signed the disclosure statement rather than paying you $500? Because the closing documents that he's showing me show he a credit for $500, which means, dude, you're so on your own. You better be really, really careful. It means that like more than an as-is contract, which this is also an as-is sale, but it means it a lot more than an as-is sale. It's because New York is trying to give you protection. They're telling you, okay, you got to fill out all these answers to these questions. But hey, if you don't feel like it, then just pay $500. And you got the $500. How many houses do you sell a year?
Many.
How many houses do you sell a year?
30 to 40 houses.
What is that an answer? Many? How many houses do you sell a year?
30 to 40 houses, the company.
Yeah, this is his business. This is what he does.
Right.
So I'm not surprised that he's like, here's $500. I don't want to get involved in this. So here's where we are then. What I have to decide is, okay, you should have gotten it tested, but if you didn't, can you still sue him, and what's going on? Because if I feel that he's a cagey, sneaky jerk who painted over it in order for you to not know there was a mold problem, then now you got to eat this mold problem, I could feel that, but can you still sue, given all of the contracts that you guys have signed? Court is in recess.
All rise. I'll get that for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So the guy smells paint in the basement 3 separate times. Was he on notice that there was mold in the house? What do you think?
I think so. I think by the seller putting the fresh paint on it and then buyer coming in and.
Well, is it tough luck for him, or is the home seller still responsible for defrauding him?
I think he should have at least questioned the home seller about it.
So does he have any legal recourse by not doing that?
I don't know.
What do you think? Does he?
He's high on turpentine.
Oh, God. Going inside the courtroom.
First of all, it's your responsibility to know what you're buying when you have both an as-is sale, not both, when you have all of the above, an as-is sale, a guy who won't answer questions and pays you $500 for the privilege of not doing it, as the law allows him to do, so that you don't then later say, but you said, right? And something else that's in that contract that's very specific. There's a disclaimer in the contract, and the disclaimer says that you absolutely have made this decision based on your own physical inspection of the place and the physical condition of the place, and not on anything he's said to you. If I believe that what you engaged in is active concealment, it's a different story, because the law's not crazy. It's not going to allow somebody to actively conceal something so that without Herculean efforts you can't discover it. Now, my next analysis. I have to look at this and say, is it possible that between July 18th and August 7th, this could happen, and only happen when you own it, and not have been there beforehand and deliberately painted over? I'm not just looking at mold here. I'm looking at those little cauliflower sprouting, that calcification that happens when the problem is so profound that it actually gets to that stage. I got to tell you, when I look at this stuff, it makes me kind of feel like your goal is to flip and make the most money possible and pass it along to the next guy.
That's not true. I put a lot of money in the houses that I fixed.
Calcification?
The whole
And
sheetrock
so
in
the
the
question is, could this possibly come out a few weeks after purchase and all have happened during the time he owned it? And I say no. All right? So I find in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000.
So the judge decides in favor of the plaintiff here. Come on in here. Those pictures were damning evidence. You saw them.
It's not true. I never painted over the mold. There was never mold over there. He had his own inspection. I'm just surprised.
Well, where do you think all that mold came from so fast?
I don't know. You never know. Anybody can go make up pictures and bring them to the court, you know? Those molds, I don't know how that kind of mold can grow in a period of 2 weeks.
Well, why would he do that?
He's an opportunist.
All right, right down this way. Okay, head down there. All right, come on in here. You saved your whole life for this house, and now you get this ruling in your favor. And how you feeling about this?
I'm very elated about the judge's decision. All I can say is justice has been served, and God is good.
How ripped off did you feel when you saw that mold starting to crop up
Very
on the wall?
devastated. Like I said, it was a milestone in my life. I put in all my life savings into this property, and I was just on the verge of tears.
Yeah, so
when I
what are you
saw
going to
that
do
happen.
now? You're going to fix it and move in there?
Moving as soon as possible.
All right, over to Harvey.
Okay, even if you buy a house as is, you can still sue the seller for fraud, or as the judge puts it, active concealment, if that person is withholding something that's very material and trying to hide it from the buyer that would cause the buyer damage.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.